Okay, Tara, now we've talked a lot about the problem, right? We've identified that this stuff is not good for children. We've identified that it is, in fact, going on. It's not just in Ferrisburg. It's all over the state. It's all over the nation.
That's correct.
Now, you, in the pursuit of transparency and understanding what was going on in the classroom, you actually had a lot of conversations with the administration, and they said some things and shared some things that are actionable legally, right? That they admitted to behaving in a way where if you chose to take legal action, you could.
That's correct.
And so what I really want to dig into a little bit is what is that, and what were the things that they said, and then what are some of the actions that those parents listening across the country can then listen for and take action on?
Yes.
So would you share with the viewers a little bit about how those conversations with the administration went and what sort of egregious things that they admitted to?
Yeah, so at the end of the meeting with the principal and district equity coordinator, and just to remind you, there was another mom as my witness, and we're pulling our children out of health class. Okay, so these are families pulling their children out of health class. And the principal said at the end of the 45-minute meeting, she goes, "We still have a problem." She said, "What are we doing about health class?"
Oh.
And she had to relay a message from the district superintendent to us. She said we needed to go to the district superintendent, but the message that she relayed was, if you do not put your children back into health class, you will need to find alternative schooling. We were verbally threatened in so many words to leave the school district.
So if you don't want your children to have random people talking to them about their genitalia, you're not allowed to be in school. Or they would not be allowed to be in school.
That is correct. We would have to find alternative schooling was what they were hinting at.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We could tell that the principal was very uncomfortable to deliver that message.
Okay.
She said she was delivering it from the district superintendent and that we would need to seek her out next. So I went to the district superintendent. I had an in-person meeting with her. And at this point, I had sought some legal counsel. And I learned that what they are doing is actually illegal and unconstitutional. So if a parent wants to choose to opt out, they need to provide those opt-out options.
Okay.
So
And is it just health class that parents can opt out of, or is that supposed to be an option for anything?
It is supposed to be an option for anything. The issue is the principal admitted these gender ideologies, the comprehensive sexual education, the LGBTQIA pride movement, transgenderism, all of those things are infiltrated throughout the entire curriculum. We're talking about math, we're talking about English, we're talking about science and history. So if a child has a question about gender identity in the middle of math class, the principal said, we will stop math and answer that child's question so everyone can receive the answer at the same time. We don't want all the children to be confused. Wow. We want to answer their questions for them.
And my understanding from educators is it really is being infused into the curriculum. It's in the way that the questions are asked. It's the book choices being made. It's all of these things.
So when I had a meeting with the district superintendent, one of the first questions I asked her was, what is the name of the curriculum? She said, there is no name to the curriculum. I said, could you please explain that further? She said, sure. She said, we have to, as teachers, we can make up our own curriculum, and we just have to make sure that it meets the Vermont Department of Education requirements and standards. The teachers are actually making up their own curriculum, which is typical. Teachers make up their curriculum, but this allows leeway and room for anything to be interjected.
But that's what it used to be. Teachers, they make their own lesson plans, not their own curriculum. So I'm curious. Wow. Okay. So there's not like okay. Keep going. I'm so astounded. I can't even make a question right now. Oh my God.
It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
Okay. So we're going to interrupt math, right? The superintendent is like, we're going to do whatever. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So that's what they do. But the second question I asked the district superintendent was, are these schools accredited? And now schools do not need to be accredited for college purposes, especially at the elementary level, is my understanding. Although when I asked her that question, she wouldn't answer me. So at the end of the meeting, we come back full circle. She said, do you have any more questions? I said, yes, I do. I said, you did not answer one of my questions. I said, are these schools accredited? She said, no. They used to be under the New England Accreditation Services or something of the sorts. They are no longer held accountable to anyone.
That is shocking. So there's no, and now Ferrisburg is not the only school district. I happen to know, I believe Winooski also isn't. There's some other school districts that aren't even up to snuff according to state standards, let alone any sort of national accrediting or things like that. So they're creating lesson plans and curriculums around this ideology, but then nobody's double checking to make sure the kids are actually learning math.
That's correct.
Reading.
Yeah, my daughter said there's not much new that they're learning this year in school. She feels behind. And, you know, we've already been behind because of the couple years of COVID and all those things. And so the children want a challenge. Children are so capable of so much more, and they are not being offered what they need. So the focus has been off of academics, more on political agenda. It's been very plain and evident. And so when I asked the superintendent, I said, you know, I'd like to come observe. I brought this up again. And she said, no, we're not able to allow you to come observe classroom time. I said, you know, I even mentioned, I said via email, what if we had a Zoom call where parents could, you know, at least be observing health class or be observing. But remind you, this is not just health class. This is the entire curriculum. So
right.
You can't just say it's health class. So, you know, I asked the district superintendent of Addison Northwest School District, I said, I would like my children to be able to opt out. I'd like them to be in the library, in the front office, in the hallway, at the tables. You know, our taxpayer dollars go to pay these teachers. We have enough personnel and staff in the building to be able to accommodate. And she said, we cannot make these accommodations.
Wow. Okay.
So the verbal threat was something, you know, of being kicked out of the school district. We knew that would not be easy to get into writing. They're not going to want to expose themselves. And,
right.
You know, I kept a very civil and diplomatic email correspondence going back and forth with this district superintendent. And we came to the point where I presented legal opt-out forms. Parents do not know their rights. Parents need to know their rights. I sought out parents' rights in education.
Okay.
If you remember anything from today, Parents' Rights in Education is a national organization. Parents, you need to register. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to get on their email list, to become a part. They have trainings online for parents to know how to go to school boards and present themselves well and have success. We need to be taking a stand, going to our school boards. You might be saying, oh, well, that's just not me. I can't do that. We need to do something about this.
I mean, if you're not going to fight for your kids, you know, I think that's one of the things that needs to really be drilled home is if you as a parent are not defending your children, if you're not standing up against this ideology,
yes.
You are participating in the traumatization and pain
Yes.
being inflicted upon your children.
Yeah, your hands are also not clean in that regard. You know, you need to take a stand, and we need to stand together as one voice.
That's right. And so you managed to maintain a civil tone. You were able to continue to talk to these people and just try to be reasonable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important to highlight, everyone, is if you run around, look, I'm angry. You know, we were talking on the break.
I felt very righteously angry.
I am angry. It makes me cry and all of those things. But if we bring that emotion to the table, we unfortunately ruin our message. We ruin the opportunity to really have a message. And so you maintained a civil tone. You were reasonable in your the way that you dealt with these people. And so what were you able to get as a result of that?
Yeah. So Parents' Rights in Education led me to their legal opt-out forms on their website. We have Liberty Counsel. We have Pacific Justice Institute. These national legal teams who have taken time to put together legal opt-out forms. So I presented to Sheila Soul, the district superintendent of Addison Northwest School District. I said, here are legal opt-out forms. I said, here's the human, non-consent, sexuality, comprehensive sexuality, non-consent form. Here's this, and here's another opt-out form. I said, I would like these to be placed on my children's permanent files. Now, this is not an agreement. This is not a formal agreement. She simply needed to sign to say that she's at least received them. She said, I'm not willing to sign anything. So my understanding from my local attorney is that any family who is out of the public school system, who's homeschooling, who's doing alternative schooling, who's in private schooling, if you've left the public school system due to these indoctrinations or gender ideologies or other concerns, you have legal room for a lawsuit. This is illegal and unconstitutional.
So it's actually illegal for them to be teaching this stuff.
It is illegal for them to force families out of the public school and not provide these opt-out options.
Wow. Okay. So they're doing all kinds of wild stuff. We already know that what they're doing is terrible. And then if you try to assert your legal rights as a parent, they're saying we're not going to acknowledge it. We're not going to recognize it.
So we had another email exchange, the district superintendent and I, and she said, Tara, it is clear we are at an impasse.
Okay.
So therefore, there is nothing I can do for you.
So it's take your kids out or make them attend class.
That is correct. She said, we have LGBTQIA+, transgender community. We are an affirming, equitable community. Therefore, if you are not going to sing, tune with us, you need to leave.
So if I don't want a stranger talking to my children about their genitals and sex, that means you're unaffirming and you're unwelcoming and whatever. I mean, that is just, what an outrageous
I told her,
thing to say.
I do not expect my children to treat these people, LGBTQIA+, transgender community, any different than they would treat anybody else. I am called, teaching my children to love, not judge. And I know it sounds like I'm being judgmental. That's not my heart here.
No.
My heart here is that teachers and the curriculum has crossed a definite boundary line, and it is affecting our children in a negative way.
Well, and that's one of the things that, see, I keep saying that.
It's all good.
The idea that if I don't want my child to be sexualized, that means I'm judgmental or mean or that I don't care about gay people or things like. The way that they change words around. I mean, it really is gaslighting.
Yes.
Right? So it is, if you acknowledge the reality that talking about sex with children traumatizes them, that means you are not affirming the identity of an adult. That's one of the that's what is so wild to me, is you're literally saying that these children are required to be traumatized in order to save the feelings of some adults. I don't know how to see it any other way than that.
Yeah.
We're going to make children responsible for adult feelings. And if they say, wait, what was it they said at the school event? So, okay, so
Right.
you were sharing with me there was an event.
Yeah, so this goes back to the meeting with the principal and the district equity coordinator. So when I called them out on the lack of transparency, they said, we will start becoming more transparent. Because I said, this should be in newsletters. I said, this should be on the overview, sequence, and scope. If you're going to be talking about these things, you need to let the parents know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's reasonable.
That's absolutely reasonable. And so they said, okay, well, the way we'll accommodate that is we'll start informing more. They looked at each other. They actually said, we could run with this.
Oh, good golly.
So they
That's
put
not
together 3 equity session series in Virgins at the middle and high school. And so these sessions were led by the district equity coordinator and middle school and high school girls, or however they, whatever pronouns they identify with.
Oh, so the students.
The students led the equity sessions. So the first one was supposed to be, who we are, where we are, as we are, something to that regard. And that one got canceled because there were not enough people interested, is what was told. And the second one is what I attended. And so it was very interesting. It was very informative because they did what they call a fish bowl. So they allow, the teacher, they're showing us a sneak peek into what is happening in the classrooms at the middle school and high school level.
Okay.
So the district equity coordinator would prompt and ask a question to the middle school and high school students who were participating at this equity session. And this was an invitation to the entire community. I did not see very many parents there. It was mostly the parents of these children supporting them. It was a few teachers, the district, some people from the district were there, but not very many people attended. And so it was very interesting to observe. And so when these middle school and high school students were being asked questions by the district equity coordinator, we were talking about equity in literature. Why do you think that equity in literature is important? And one of the girls was talking about her background of her parents being gay, and had this been something discussed in literature sooner, she said that maybe children would be more accepting. And so they actually said, in so many words, that children are young and pliable, and we need to get them while they're young.
Wow. Again, I'm not sure how that's not grooming. How is that not grooming? If they're openly saying we need to start having these conversations younger, that is literally for the intention of shaping their minds.
Yes.
And the way that they think about things.
Yes. Right.
Isn't that the definition?
There are middle school and high school students who do not want to participate in these things. There was Pride Week last year, and there are teachers who have now retired, and they said it was awful to watch. There's a student, flying his Trump flag while the rest of the kids have their rainbow flags, and students were crying and begging the teachers, make him take it off, make him take it off. Because they wanted him to put away his Trump flag and come join them. And this kid was singled out. And the way that they're teaching the children behind the scenes, they're singling out the children. The children are afraid to even say their own opinion to their history professor or to anyone because they're concerned about being sent out to the resource center, which is actually one of their consequences when they're being disruptive.
Oh, wow. So it's it's not only about tolerance anymore. It's if you don't actively affirm, if you don't actively participate,
correct,
you're the problem.
Correct. So there was a group of middle school and high school students last year during Pride Week who did not want to participate in any of the Pride activities. And so there was a teacher who was there to try to assist these students, give them a way to opt out of these activities. And other teachers came and said, no, they need to participate. And so some of them were guilted and shamed into participating. The teacher actually started crying in front of the students, crying, you need to come participate. So a handful of these students who were opting out ended up leaving to join the Pride activities outside that they were doing. And they saw this other group outside playing Foursquare, they're not participating. And they wanted to join them again. And the teachers had corralled them to come be a part of the group. And they said, if you choose to leave again, you need to stand here and tell everybody why you're leaving our group.
I cannot imagine that happening about anything when I was a kid.
Right. It's actually teachers bullying students and not allowing them to think for themselves.
Oh my God. Okay, I can't even handle it right now. Our light went out. The red light went out. Okay. I don't know if that matters, or how much we'll worry about it.
God bless America.
Okay, what else? So just to be clear, Tara, so that we can make sure that the parents watching understand their rights. Mm-hmm. The school district and the teachers cannot behave like this to their children or to the students. Parents have rights. You can go to
parentsrightsandeducation.org
to get these opt-out forms. If they don't accept them, that is against the law. Mm-hmm. They are not allowed to do that, and parents can take legal action.
That's correct.
And so I'm curious if especially if you get 3, 4, 5 parents in a school district who are standing up to this ideology and saying no, what kind of power that would have.
Yeah, could you imagine if you go to parentsrightsined.org and you go down to their opt-out forms, you will see a list of opt-out forms for different things. It's even like, locker room issues and stuff. They have written up legal forms from Pacific Justice Institute and Liberty Counsel, as I mentioned earlier. And so you fill out these forms, send them in by certified mail to your district. Therefore, you have to receive a stub back saying they've received them, which is what I did. And I also emailed them to them as well. So I have proof and evidence that they have received them. Therefore, but they're ignoring them at the moment. So you say, what is the purpose of these forms if they're ignoring it? Well, imagine the whole state of Vermont goes to this website, the parents who are concerned, you fill out these forms, you start sending them into your district. Wow, they're going to have to do something about it because there are enough people wanting to opt out. If the school district is saying, well, we're just going to kick these families out, that doesn't make them look very good now, does it?
Exactly. And I just, I really wonder too, Tara, what kind of example you in particular are setting for your children versus the parents who aren't. You are demonstrating what it looks like to stand up for yourself, to protect your family. The example that you are setting for your children by being strong and courageous and powerful and standing up for them to protect them, that is an amazing blessing. And your kids are going to grow up knowing that mom and dad love them and care about them and want them to be protected.
Right.
And I just really want to encourage the other parents out there to grasp the weight of that, and what kind of further damage it could do to your children if they know that you're allowing them to be abused by the school district.
Right. So the parents who are taking a stand, people are concerned about retaliation, right? There have been instances where my daughter and, these other students of these families choosing to opt out. I still go every Thursday and Friday and take my kids out of health class. Here's an interesting thing. My kids have not been in health class almost the entire year, yet their report cards say they still have an A+ in health class. How is that possible if they're not attending?
Is that to manipulate?
It seems as though they're trying to cover their tracks, and it's proven that even though I'm entering the building and taking my children out, there's nothing they can do about it.
Wow. Okay, so that's a good thing. The biggest thing that I want everyone to take away from our conversation today is you do not have to lay down and take it. No matter what they say to you. Okay, what else have we not covered yet, Tara, that our viewers need to hear?
Yeah, Erica, something I want to touch on is what's happening in Montpelier. So people are just so uninformed. You can go to the legislative website and follow what bills are being placed on the House and Senate floor. So we have a bill, H89, that is in effect right now. People, we can stand up. You can do written testimony. If you don't feel like being in front of the camera on Zoom or going up to Montpelier in person, write a written testimony. As a parent, I wrote a written testimony to legislators up in Montpelier about H89. It has passed the House. So H89 is about gender affirming care, and it is allowing children to start receiving gender affirming care without parental knowledge and consent. It's actually trafficking children into the state. So, people can bring children into the state of Vermont to receive gender affirming care. On the West Coast, there are actually parents who have been standing up, and they are getting formal restraining orders written against them from their school districts as they take a stand. They are not allowed on the school property to pick up their children because they're trying to take a stand. So, the fear of retaliation, we do not need to be afraid. We need to rise together.
That's right.
We need to take a stand together. So all these different parent groups, every single district needs to come under the umbrella of establishment of Parents' Rights in Education, the national organization. Get trained to go to school boards. Write to your legislators about these things. Speak up. It's time to take a stand.
That's, I hear a lot, I'm busy. Everybody's working.
I'm a founder and president of a nonprofit organization. I'm a full-time mother and wife. I have so many different things on my plate, so many different balls in the air. I'm a writer, I'm a speaker. You can't say I'm not busy. On top of advocating for the children in the public school system.
Well, are you too busy to stop people from abusing your child? That's the thing that is so, again, I understand what it is to be busy. I understand that there are a lot of homes that are two-income homes and that can be a challenge and that can be hard. But I have to ask, what is it going to cost in the end?
Something I want to say, too, to the homeschooling families and families who have their children in private Christian schooling or anything else, alternative schooling.
Yeah.
Hello. Why are they there? Is it to shield and guard them from what's going on in the public school? Just because your children are attending elsewhere, they're being homeschooled, or they're attending private schooling, does not mean that you cannot still stand and take action for the other children who are left behind.
That's right, because what is the
H89?
H89 legalizes, and I cannot stress this enough, people. It legalizes child kidnapping. Okay. It says that people can come here and that this is a sanctuary state. So a person, say a parent who lives in another state, the other parent doesn't want gender affirming care for their child, they can come here, and this bill says the state of Vermont will not recognize the laws in other states, will not recognize extradition rights. It literally says you can legally kidnap your child and start doing gender affirming care. And I almost feel like we should stop using that euphemism because it just sort of adds, it doesn't, why are we trying to be polite? Okay, what it does is it legalizes child kidnapping, sterilization, and mutilation. That's really what it is. It says that before a child is the age of majority, you can cut off body parts, you can start giving hormone replacement therapy, and you can do it in the school without telling parents, without ever acknowledging that it's happening.
Right. There's a shield bill, trying to protect providers against any lawsuit for this.
Even further, right?
Yeah.
So this bill, H89, is removing parents' rights to their child, saying that the school knows better and can make medical decisions for your child, and also legalize kidnapping.
Yeah, it's insanity. It's absolute insanity.
It is, and that you don't have to have a child in public school to think that is terrible and disgusting and awful.
I met a woman, who said, for the last 3 years, I've had it on my heart to run for school board. I said, why are you not on school board? She said, I have my boys in private schooling. She's like, I didn't think that I should run. I said, we need you. We need you.
Anybody who is willing to step up. A lot of folks also think, oh, I'm not qualified, I don't have a whatever, because, you have folks maybe on the school board or city council here in Burlington as an example.
Yeah. Yes.
Our school board here is filled with a bunch of higher income, elitist, out-of-staters that have no idea or understanding about the culture or the consequence of the decisions that they're making.
Yeah.
They themselves are shielded from the reality, and they're not better. They don't make better decisions just because they have some First of all, you don't need an Ivy League education to be on school board. You just have to not be dim and understand that children are malleable, and you have... What an incredible responsibility that is, knowing that you are helping shape the minds, not only the minds of these children, but the future economy, the future parents, the future everything. You're affecting the future of the United States and of the world.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have a college degree.
Right.
You don't need to have a fancy job. You just have to be thoughtful.
And I'll reiterate, parentsrightsined.org. If you go to their website, the executive director, Suzanne Gallagher, is a friend of mine. She is amazing. She's a wealth of information. You can do so much on that website. She has worked so hard. All 50 states are coming under her umbrella of establishment because they are providing training for parents to know how to go to school boards. So it's about a 16-hour training. You might be saying, I don't have time for 16 hours. Yes, you do. It takes about a week to do the training.
Hold on.
Yes.
Do you have time? Do you have time to go to all the therapy sessions and all the medical appointments when your kid has all kinds of health problems? You don't not have time.
Touche.
Oh,
Touche.
excuse me. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. But I want parents to
Okay.
recognize that they can go, and if you feel unqualified, there is help. Go to parentsrightsandeds.org. Do their 16-hour free training online. Suzanne, the director, said it takes about a week or two. You can do it at your leisure as well. So if you have your kids in bed at night or whatever time of the day it works for you, do 1 to 2 sessions. You take a little quiz at the end. You get certified so that you know how to present yourselves well on a school board.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And that's why we do what we do, so that people know that there are options, that they are not alone,
No.
and that they don't have to try to overcome all these hurdles
Every
by
single
themselves.
district in the state of Vermont and nationwide. So we have other parent groups popping up in Randolph and Essex and different places. And so, praise God, people are taking action, but they're green, they're fresh, they don't know what to do. So everybody is being encouraged to come under the establishment of Parents' Rights and Education. If you're interested in becoming an affiliate of Parents' Rights and Education, they help motivate, they help keep the momentum going, they help equip.
Train.
Yeah, they
Equip, good
train,
word.
they equip. And so we need to be empowered, and I am here today to empower you to take a stand, become equipped. Here are some tools, here are some resources, here are some things we can do. So if you want to continue to learn more, please join me.
Absolutely. And so everyone watching, it can be overwhelming. It can be scary. When you look at the landscape, especially in a place like Vermont, and you see everything that is wrong and all of the ways that the state is trying to strip away your constitutional rights and strip away our culture and everything that we've built here in the state of Vermont. This is one way that parents or non-parents even can get involved and participate.
Absolutely.
And this is such a, if there is not a topic to rally around,
Right.
more important than our children.
Right. This is going to be a Roe v. Wade, guys. This absolutely is. It's going to be like another Roe v. Wade, because parents need to take a stand. And I am hoping that Vermont can take a stand and be a precedent, not only for the state of Vermont, but for nationwide as we rise together in unison. And so another thing my local attorney said is that, it's so important for parents to take a stand together, because as one voice we can.
Absolutely. Amen. All right. Now, Tara, tell our viewers if they want to follow up with you, if they want to see where this goes, how can they follow you on social media? Can they keep up with you? Tell them where they can go.
So my local school group that is taking a stand in Addison Northwest School District, we are called SOS, Save Our Schools, and we're actually asking all the other districts in the state of Vermont to join us. So we're going to have Addison SOS, we're going to have Essex possibly SOS, and if we can continue to get that growing in every single district and come under the establishment of Parents' Rights and Education, that would be an amazing start. So we need to do that. We need to do that. And so becoming an affiliate of Parents' Rights is definitely an assist.
Well, and I imagine if this kind of movement came out of a place like Vermont, how much more powerful that will be on the national stage for a liberal state like ours to take a stand and say, no, no, absolutely not. We love everyone. We accept everyone. We want everyone to have to experience tolerance and acceptance of who they are as a human being, but that does not mean that we hurt people in order to accomplish that.
Right.
And I think that heart in the culture of Vermont can be maintained, that loving acceptance of everyone for who they are and how they show up to the world. We can maintain that culture without hurting people. And we can do it with love, we can do it with grace, we can do it with kindness, because that is the way that we spread this message, you guys. If we come out, we can be angry, right? You and I,
Oh, absolutely.
We're angry. We are mad.
I'm sitting here angry with a smile on my face, and I'm sitting here with a smile on my face because I know that we can bring balance back to the classroom if we choose to do something about it.
Yep. And let's not meet hatred with hatred.
No.
Let's meet hatred with that.
Yeah, you can't fight fire with fire now, can you, Erica?
That is correct. That is correct. So again, parentsrightsandeducation.org. Everybody go check it out. Reach out to SOS.
Yes.
Is there?
Yeah,
Sorry,
SOS will be coming under. We'll have our own Vermont link. So you'll go to Parents Rights and Ed, their national website, and Vermont. So our school group will be coming under them. So we'll be posting things. We'll be posting articles. We'll be getting events started. So join us.
Yeah, reach out. Be on the lookout for them, and find out more.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much, Erica, for having me today.
Thank you for coming, Tara. I'm
Yes.
so grateful.
Yes.
All right. Bye, everybody.